Welcome, my dear seekers of the Golden Fleece. Pull up a chair and pour yourself something aged and expensive. I am the Financial Fox, and today we are going to peel back the gold leaf from what the banks like to call financial planning. Listen closely. The market is not a charity. It is a coliseum where your ignorance is the main course served at the high table of the big players. In 1661, a man named Nicolas Fouquet, the French finance minister, threw the most extravagant party Europe had ever witnessed. 17,000 guests, fireworks choreographed by the finest artists, and a feast so opulent that the young King Louis XIV sat in stunned silence, realizing his own minister lived better than the crown. 3 weeks later, Fouquet was arrested and spent the rest of his life rotting in a fortress. A century later, Robert Morris, the man who personally funded the American Revolution, died penniless in a boarding house. These were not fools. They were brilliant, connected, and powerful. They simply never understood the invisible thresholds of wealth that change the rules of the game entirely. Most people stay stuck forever because they play the game of checkers on a board where the elites are playing high-stakes chess. This is the real game. The financial industry has zero incentive to tell you about these milestones. In fact, your bank and your employer actively benefit from your desperation and your confusion. They want you to believe in the myth of the slow and steady 15% savings rate, while they extract the real value from your time and labor. But to understand where you are going, we must look back at Renaissance Italy. In 1434, the Medici family wasn't yet the dynasty that would produce popes and queens. They were wool traders, solidly middle class. But Cosimo de' Medici noticed something that changed everything, a specific threshold where money stops behaving defensively and starts becoming offensive. Below this line, money is about survival. You hoard every cent, you fear every expense, and you take whatever bad deal walks through your door because you have no choice. But once you cross what I call the breathing line, you gain the right to make mistakes without dying. The first milestone is precisely $100,000 in investable assets, and I must be very clear here, I am not talking about the equity in your house, your furniture, or your car. I am talking about liquid capital that works while you sleep, the cold, hard truth that no financial guru wants to admit is that below $100,000, compound interest is essentially a lie. Oh, the math works. 8% of $1,000 is still $80, but psychologically and practically it's invisible. It doesn't pay your bills, it doesn't change your behavior, and it doesn't make you feel wealthier. This is the puddle phase. You're trying to fill a swimming pool with a garden hose, and for the first 7 to 10 years, you're just creating a wet patch on the concrete. Most people quit here because they see their $500 monthly contribution doing all the work while the interest adds a pathetic few dollars. They decide it's not worth the sacrifice and buy a luxury car on credit, effectively handing their garden hose back to the bank. Listen closely. The banks love these micro-investors. They lure you in with zero-commission apps, but you are not the investor, you are the plankton. They sell your data to hedge funds so the big whales can eat you for breakfast. The journey to 100K is the most brutal, boring, and soul-crushing stretch of your life. But once you hit it, the snowball finally begins to roll. Getting from $100,000 to $200,000 takes roughly half the time because your capital is finally a meaningful teammate. Your investments begin to generate a fraction of your salary, perhaps 11% or more, and suddenly the handcuffs feel just a little bit looser. You aren't free, but the desperation begins to fade. This leads us to the second threshold, $500,000. This is the milestone that separates the merely comfortable from the truly secure. At this level, you have what I call walkaway power. Using a conservative withdrawal rate, this capital can cover the floor of human survival, housing, food, and basic utilities indefinitely. But the real value isn't the money you take out, it's the fear that disappears. You are now functionally immune to unemployment. If your boss mistreats you or your industry collapses, it is a problem, yes, but it is not a catastrophe. You can wait 6 months for the perfect opportunity instead of begging for the first bone the market throws your way. Here's the secret the elites don't want you to know. Your employer knows exactly how many missed paychecks you are from disaster. That is why they can demand unpaid overtime and deny you raises. But when you have $500,000 in the bank, you become a dangerous employee. You speak up in meetings, you set boundaries, and you negotiate from a position of absolute strength, because getting fired isn't a death sentence. Paradoxically, this makes you more valuable. However, the bank is watching you. Once you hit this level, they will assign you a personal manager and offer you elite credit cards. This is the middle-class hostage trap. They're trying to lure your capital into liabilities, upgraded lifestyles, and bigger mortgages to put the golden handcuffs back on you before you reach the third and final stage. The third milestone is the inversion point, $2.5 million. This is where the physics of money fundamentally shifts. At this level, your capital produces more wealth in a year than you can likely produce with your labor. If your portfolio generates $400 a day while you sleep, and your job pays you $300 for 8 hours of stress, you're literally losing money by going to work at this point. Trading your time for a salary at this point is an inefficient use of resources. It's like accepting payment in a currency that's worth half of what you already have. The truly wealthy don't work for money because they've done the math, and the math says that labor is a bad trade for them. But let's be honest, because a fox always is, you will almost never reach $2.5 million through a salary alone. The standard advice to save 15% and retire at 65 is designed to get you to the second milestone, making you a secure consumer, but never a competitor. To cross the inversion point, you need ownership. You need equity in businesses, real estate, or assets that grow faster than the public markets. You have to stop being the one who pays the interest and start being the one who owns the debt. This is the real game. The financial industry keeps you focused on income because income is what flows through you, but net worth is what stays with you. They celebrate the man earning $150,000 who spends it all on a lifestyle that feeds the banks, while they ignore the person earning $70,000 who is quietly building a fortress. Every mortgage, every car loan, and every premium subscription is a carefully engineered drain designed to capture your increasing income before it can ever become wealth. So, what is your singular mission today? If you are below $100,000, stop worrying about optimizing your portfolio or finding the next hot stock tip. Your only job is to survive the puddle phase. Cut your expenses ruthlessly, increase your income through any means necessary, and automate your investments, so the money vanishes before you can spend it on something shiny that the bank wants you to buy. If you are between $100K and $500K, shift your focus to protection and career leverage. And if you are lucky enough to be approaching the third milestone, stop playing the games that got you there. The strategies that work at the first level will destroy you at the third. Remember Nicolas Fouquet. He had the wealth, but he didn't understand the rules. He flaunted his success to a king who felt threatened by it and ended up in a cage. Robert Morris had the capital, but he got overconfident and speculated wildly on land, ending up in a debtor's prison. Wealth is not just a number on a screen. It is a mental model that must evolve as you cross each threshold.
If you act like you're in the puddle phase when you're at the inversion point, you'll stagnate. If you act like you're at the inversion point when you're barely breathing, you'll be ruined. The Medici figured this out 600 years ago with nothing but math and patience. They didn't have index funds or tax-advantaged accounts. They simply understood that the rules of the game change as you get bigger. Now you have information that most people will live their entire lives without ever encountering. The question is, will you use it to become the hunter, or will you remain the prey? Don't let the banks continue to feed on your ignorance. Look at your accounts today. Be honest, be ruthless, and find out exactly which threshold you are standing on. Then start playing by the rules of that level. Leave a comment and tell me which milestone you're hunting. I read everything, and I'm genuinely curious to see who among you is ready to leave the wheel and join the fox. This is the real game. Subscribe if you're ready to win it. Until next time.